Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Undrafted Uncensored, where apparently I'm not going to start the show with a normal speech. I'm going to hit my microphone. A part of the E5280 Sports Network, where it seems the best way to help your March Madness odds is to storm the court.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, what better way to take Duke out than to storm the court with like 8.8 seconds left before the game is over?
If you don't like it, play defense, you know?
Or score more points.
Yeah, just stop it, you know? If you don't like it, stop it.
I mean, we all know now after the NFL, if they're not going to allow bodyguards on the sidelines of the NFL, they're not going to allow them in college campus courts. So, you know, you got to fend for yourself. Be tougher, dude.
You know, take a martial arts class.
Yeah, don't stick your knee out there. I mean, we all walk 1 foot forward at a time, but, you know, watch yourself. It's dangerous out there.
Shake your ass. Watch yourself.
Yes. Well, it's. Oh, go ahead, Colin.
I mean, I was gonna say, since we're going with the music and you like to keep rolling.
Yeah.
Ankles.
What?
Ankles.
Oh, jeez, no.
God damn it, Nuggets.
No. What do you mean, God damn it, Nuggets? We were just getting into. I was just gonna get into. Nuggets.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Keep rolling ankles, Jamal Murray.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, it's that time of year.
Play tonight anyway.
He was due for an injury.
Yeah. It's not playoff time, so you let him take whatever time he needs. You know, these guys still aren't used to a full slate of games, so let the guy have a break. Plus, do you really want him playing against LeBron and having the LA Lakers fans storm the court after he scores his 40,000th point?
Yes.
Going for the ankles, trying to twist them Mac Jones style.
Yes, I do. You're right. Actually, the Lakers fans would totally go for the ankles. I don't know if I've told you guys this. So when I was working at, the arena formerly called Pepsi Center, there was a Lakers Nuggets game, and of course, after the game, when the Nuggets won, there are Lakers fans and Nuggets fans all fighting in the concourse, as usual. Yeah. But this one was extra special because it was women fighting, and this lady was encouraging her kid to grab this woman's hair and drag her by the hair and kick her while she was down. Her kid.
Wow.
I saw her telling her kid to drag her, and she goes running into a suite that wasn't hers, mind you. Because the door's open. Everyone's exiting, you know? The suite door's open. Everyone's exiting. She's telling her kid to keep kicking this lady on the ground, and she's bloody. Like, there's literally hair and, like, scalp on the ground. Two kids, I think, were kicking. I think one was just standing by, maybe keeping watch out. But right in the middle of the concourse. And, it was stupid. I was just like, how are you doing this? And the cops go into the suite, of course, and drag her ass out. So I don't know if anything could have or did happen with the kids, but I know mom went to jail that night.
Yeah, I would think so. Contributing to the delinquency of minor is a felony, by the way, people. So don't encourage shenanigans.
Yeah. Don't tell your kids to do crimes.
Yes, it's bad. Crime is bad. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
take it from Mr. Mackey, the crime dog.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're starting to show that it's time to get serious now. They sweep it back-to-back, and they prevent a sweep as well because the Kings were 3 games up on them. They decided to win the one at home. They won a back-to-back. The second part of the back-to-back got a little worrisome, I guess we'll say, in the fourth quarter.
Well, it was worrisome before because that's when Murray went out. He went out in like the first or second quarter.
They were already down in the first anyway.
No, they were up. They were up big.
Was it the second then?
The Nuggets were up big by like well over double digits, and then Jamal Murray went out. And in the second half, it was definitely the second quarter actually, because they came out in the second half. I was trying to place some bets on Peyton Watson getting more time, and they blacked all of them out, of course. And so,
and he didn't get more time, so you're kind of lucky that didn't happen.
He did, but then he made some stupid boneheaded plays, like his attempted dunk that he came up a little bit short of.
Yep, Malone pulled him immediately after that.
Yeah, but it was the second quarter. He goes out. Nuggets are up big. I want to say probably by like 14, and it was chipped away pretty quickly. And then into the second half, they started to lose it. So, I mean, I understand you lost your point guard in the middle of the game, so it's good that they held on to that. It did show some maturity, but it shows you how valuable Jamal Murray is to this team. I mean, I think we all know it, but in that little microcosm, the team looked lost for. They looked lost and lucky to come away with that victory.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I was flipping back and forth between that and the Avalanche game, and so I think I might have missed. I mean, I obviously missed some of the game because I'd rather. I mean, I know you guys are watching the Nuggets, so I can watch the Avs a little bit more. It works to my advantage.
The Avs were up 3-0.
I know.
I stopped watching it, and I just.
Well,
I didn't think McKinnon was going to get a goal, and then guess what? He scored the last one. So
I wanted to see Eustace. I wanted to see Eustace in that.
Yeah, stupid dog! You made me look bad.
He was. Ananen was looking good, and I just wanted to see, if the Avs don't make a trade for a goaltender, and we'll talk about that in a minute. What potential do they have to make a run with Ananen? And he looked good. He let one get by, and I mean, the Avs played just as hard as they did the night before with the Stars.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the box score of that game. I was like, some highlight popped up and it said Jay Ananen, and I scrolled by too fast. I'm like, wait, hold on, what? That was Eustace? It wasn't good old Georgie, the corgi. But that was really cool. I was impressed by that. Because he's one of those, not local guys, but didn't he? No, he didn't go to D. He just played for the Eagles for a while. They brought him up from the Eagles, and that was kind of a fun little, look, we have a minor league goalie, and he's now the backup, mostly because they can't keep a backup goalie healthy. But that was really cool to see. I don't know if that's going to be an indicator of the future that I want to be able to believe, but hockey's just so random. It feels like, anything can happen. And I like the idea of going for a backup, but man, the underdog kind of lover, the hipster in me loves the idea of just rolling into the playoffs with Eustace Ananen as your backup goalie. Just, what could possibly go wrong?
Colin, that was the weirdest way of anybody ever drinking water from that kind of a bottle.
Yep, it's this cap. It
just looks funny.
I know. I had to hold it down. I spilled all over myself too. I'm all
wet.
I got all wet thinking about the Nuggets.
Phrasing. Yeah. So
meant it.
Obviously tonight is in LA against the Lakers. Sounds like Joker may not play tonight. I mean, obviously Jamal's not going to play tonight. And I mean, I don't want to sound mean, but I don't think the Nuggets really care about the Lakers anymore. It's just kind of like,
no.
We beat you guys a couple times in important games, and LeBron's old, and it's evident by the fact he's 9 away from 40,000. So you go do your little celebration thing, hang it up next to the mid-season championship banner that you guys felt was necessary, and keep being you, guy.
This is a classy move by Michael Malone here. Resting Jokic, resting Murray, probably going to rest someone else so that LeBron can get his 40,000th victory or 40,000th point on a night with a victory. Classy move by Malone by just letting him have one.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, well, he broke the record in the loss, so you got to have a victory somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we have the victory formation at the end of the show, and LeBron's going to have his victory at the end of his career right here.
Yeah,
pretty close to it. So
just not in the championship.
No, it's not going to be in the championship. But very classy. Michael Malone letting LeBron win a game where he breaks some record. we should tip our hats to him, thinking about others. LeBron hasn't had enough clout in years, and so let's give him the spotlight one more time.
Yep.
He doesn't want to overshadow him by having Jokic go out and mess around and get a triple-double.
They're on the outside looking in too on the playoffs, right?
Yes.
They had a big comeback recently, but the problem is that the West doesn't have a lot more competitive teams, so I feel like they're going to end up being in the play-in unless the Rockets decide that they're going to try to make a push. It's that the play-in, I think, is just going to be relatively set.
It was a 21-point comeback or 22-point comeback on Sunday.
Yeah, he had a big one for sure. But could you imagine how awesome it would be if, the Reggie Jackson, DeAndre Jordan, Lob City, they throw in some Gordon if he plays, and they actually manage to beat LeBron and the Lakers, who have not looked very good.
Clippers East beat the Lakers.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Clippers East taking on the Lakers.
Clippers Midwest, maybe.
Yeah,
there you go.
The Staples Center Showdown, the arena formerly known as the Staples Center Showdown. I would love that. That would just. I was gonna watch this game anyway, just because it sounds like fun, and it's always fun to watch Nuggets Lakers, even if it's gonna be one of those games where nobody really plays for the Nuggets. That'd be sick. Watch Colin Gillespie come out there and hit maybe more than 1 3.
Hey, he hit 3 of them the other night.
Yeah, he's a solid player. That's been one of the bright spots of Jamal missing time, is that you're developing a decent bench guard that you'll be able to have in your back pocket for the next couple of years. I don't expect him to play much this year in the playoffs or anything like that, but just having more of those guys just makes you feel better about your roster. It makes you feel like the Nuggets roster is a little bit deeper than maybe we thought, but it's always been very young. And so it's always been more of your bench has kind of been for the future. And it's nice to see at least one of those guys starting to play well. The sad thing is that he's on a 2-way contract. So he doesn't even have a roster spot right now. And with all the rookies they have, they're not going to cut Zeke Naji. They're not going to cut the injured Vlatko. So Gillespie probably won't even have a roster spot going into the playoffs. But still, it's just a guy to have. It makes me happy. So that'll be a guy I'm kind of watching out for. It's Gillespie, and then every single DeAndre Jordan dunk is going to get me excited.
Speaking of backups, I had this thought the other day, and I'm wondering what you guys think. Christian just doesn't look. I don't know if it's not prepared or I don't know if he let this championship, if he winning that championship was like, I've arrived, I've made it, I've done everything I've accomplished, because he is not playing. We've all said he'll turn it around, he'll be okay, but he hasn't.
Yeah. He's been in a slump.
I'm a little nervous about where his head is at and this, for this team, because last year he was one of those unsung heroes. Him and Bruce Brown, really. They made a big difference in a lot of those games, especially with the defensive mindset. And Christian Brown doesn't look like he's not there, and I'm worried about. I'm just worried about him. I honestly don't think that he's anywhere near. He's definitely taken not 1 or 2 steps back. I want to say 3 or 4.
Well, I think part of it
has gotten much worse.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Colin.
You're good.
I think part of it is last year he was fighting for a spot. He was fighting for a role. He was the rookie on the bench. When he first came on, he was still shadowed kind of by Bones too. So, he wasn't quite there yet. He has the championship pedigree because he had already won at KU and he was bringing that with him to Denver, but he didn't really have that defined role yet. Now he has a defined role. And I think the problem is nobody's really challenging him right now. So he's kind of in the sophomore slump because he's moved up in the pecking order, but he plays with both units sometimes. And so there's no real definition to what he does. So I think he's kind of lost. He's not lost off the path. He's just he was walking the path and then he went to take a pee and he slipped down the hill a little bit now he's like up back on top of the hill, but he's like trying to remember which way he was going on the path now because he rolled and tripped and stumbled a little bit.
I mean,
it's like one of those like Lord of the Ringsy, fantasy movies. Do not stray from the path. Immediately turns left.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's too much pressure. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself. I feel like the loss of Bruce Brown has caused him to feel like there needs to be more bench points scored. And even though Reggie is more of an offensive guard, he doesn't put up the points that Bruce Brown did. And so I think Christian Brown is trying to take on more than he did last year, and he's doing less because of it. Like he's not taking the shots because now he's worried about missing the shot and being inefficient. And he's trying to always make the best basketball play almost to a fault. And it's like sometimes just fucking jam it in there, go for a layup. Like do the Reggie Jackson thing where you just try something. And sometimes it works. Obviously for Reggie, it works more than anybody else for whatever reason. Those prayer lobs and layups and everything that he does is, and he's been on a slump recently too. So that might be part of it as well, is Christian just doesn't have that same high energy quality defense play style. It feels like he's trying to do a little bit too much, trying to facilitate everybody and have the offense while on the bench kind of run through him. And it's not working. You can see the confidence level has dropped significantly. You're not going to see him like dribbling in between Chris Paul and Kevin Durant anytime soon. Hopefully we get there in the playoffs. But yeah, I feel like he's trying to do too much. And like, we would love to have Bruce Brown back, but we don't need Bruce Brown from Christian Brown. We just need Christian to be Christian and just be that high energy defense guy, relatively plus player, but not like try to do too much, and then don't be afraid to miss a shot.
Well, and I know I said this last year after the Nuggets won it all, that I was worried about how some of these guys would react, and the young guys. And Christian, I know I singled out because it was, where was his fire going to be? I mean, I'm honestly worried that now he is, at this moment in time, that he feels like he's accomplished everything he set out to do. He's won a championship at every level, and he's taking it easy. No, that's the thing that I'm worried about, is that he might be not,
he's not that guy though. Like Bill Barton, I would see that. Maybe even Reggie to an extent. Christian Brown is a grinder. He's not the guy that's going to take it easy.
But it doesn't seem like he's been grinding this year, man. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like he's putting in the same. It doesn't seem like the same amount of effort is in these games as there was last year. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
Like
yeah,
maybe that role that you said he felt like he carved out.
I think
he feels comfortable in that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he feels just comfortable. And that's not a good place to be, because you see guys like Jokic. Jokic takes this time off, but when he's in there, he's working. Jamal, when he's in there, he's working. These guys are going hard after it, and I just don't think that Christian is.
I think it's the opposite. I think he was comfortable last year, and he's uncomfortable now. And because he looks unsure. He looks like whatever decision he's going to make is wrong. Like that, he doesn't have that like smile, kind of calm look on his face like you'd see from Bones sometimes when he'd miss a shot. He looks more like he's too concerned to make the wrong play, and it causes the play to slow down and kind of just not fizzle out anyway.
But doesn't that come from being unprepared? Don't you think that
no, it could also just be overthinking too.
Yeah, you can
already set the bar for yourself so high. You're trying to attain that again. The sad thing is, you're already there, kid. So if you're already at that level, you can't don't try and repeat what you did.
Yeah.
Go out there and try to set a new bar. And I mean, somebody's got to sit down with them at some point and have that come to Jesus, where it's like, dude, this was you last year. You're still playing like that this year. And that's why you're struggling, because you think you have to continuously do what you have to do, basically, for lack of a better phrase, sell jerseys. Don't worry. You're good enough. You've won championships at every level. You know how to do it. You're not a starter yet, but look who's in front of you. You have what should be perennial all-stars when you have a perennial all-star and a bunch of wannabe all-stars, basically, according to the NBA. And, it's going to be hard to crack that starting lineup for a while. But you keep doing what you did last year and bring that into this year, but push yourself to be better, then you found your spot again. And I think he's just trying to repeat what he did last year. Nobody, Bruce Brown was taking him by the hand and pulling him along, encouraging him, basically, this is who you are, kid. You know how to do this.
Yeah.
Follow me,
Green too.
Follow me and I will guide you in the ways of the force.
So, maybe, the loss of some of that hurts, but I honestly feel like he's unprepared, or he was unprepared for this season. That's how I feel. So, I don't know.
How long have you been cooking?
That's my view on it. I just don't think he's ready. I don't think he has the same intensity. I don't think he is playing with the same passion that he was last year. I feel like he's a little checked out.
Yeah, that's the result. I feel like the reasons are different, but effectively, you're right. That's what is sadly happening, is that it's just not working out. I feel like, I think it's more of a confidence thing, but it ends up with him looking unprepared. It ends up with there's too much stuff going on, and maybe I'm just not. I don't. He's not one of those like overly cocky, overly comfortable guys. That's why I feel like it's got to be something else. But you're right.
Yeah, but
that's the result, is that he's looking like he's missing stuff. It looks like he's slowed down, when last year maybe he was dumber, but he just did stuff and it worked out. Or maybe this year now he's thinking too much instead of doing. But it I don't know. At the end of the day, the path to hell is laid with good intentions. So you can do whatever you want. As if the end result doesn't work, then it's just not going to work. And it's especially with Peyton Watson having a rough game, Reggie Jackson not scoring as much as he had been previously, and Reggie's not much of a defender anyway. Him and Jamal on the court at the same time has been a real issue for the Nuggets. So they just need him to play defense. I feel like he's putting too much on himself to try to do all the other things. But, I'm projecting. We're all projecting. We're all assuming, because we don't know the guy personally. Unless he's watching. Christian, tell us what's going on. Tell your story here on the Undrafted Uncensored podcast. Yes. Open invitation.
You mentioned he's not cocky, and that's I know we got to get to the Avs, Nick. Sorry, but you mentioned confidence or cockiness, but he did have a swagger last year, and he had a confidence last year about going into games, and he doesn't have that, and that's where I think, like I said, for me, it comes off as being viewed as unprepared, or just not in touch with the game. Like I said, not just. I don't think he's fully invested like he should be right now.
I still think it's just that he doesn't have that big brother there with him. So the NBA is hard.
He ain't got Big Brown.
And yeah,
we're stuck with Lil Brown.
Colin, how long have you been a chef?
I don't know. I've cooked since I could reach a dishwasher. Really,
like a while.
25 years.
So, has there ever been a time though where you just show up and you just kind of crack egg, flip, crack egg, flip, crack egg, flip? You go through the motions, basically.
Well, of course, but I haven't done that for
the beginning of your
40 games I haven't done it for half of my life. Like Christian Brown has done it for half of this season, or over half.
Well, yeah, but when it's early in your career, a couple of days.
If you're not getting that mental challenge, you don't know what's best for you. Sometimes you just kind of show up and go through the motions, and maybe somebody hasn't shown him. He's only in year 2, and he's been playing basketball, like you said, half his life. He's got championships at every level. And at some point where you basically come off of 2 consecutive championship seasons, he's not going to get rookie of the year now. So that's out. Well, what? You can't get MVP because the perennial MVP is on your team.
So yeah. So where's your fire? Where's your passion?
That's what I mean.
How many times have we seen somebody, especially like bosses, who get to, like, let's say they get to their point and then they feel like they can do nothing now. You get someone promoted who gets whatever, they're your boss, and they sit on their ass and do nothing because they feel like they're the big boss. They finally made it and they finally arrived.
Yeah,
this is what I feel like Christian Brown is going through right now. Is that
that's what I'm saying.
He feels like he's made it. He's finally arrived.
Well, he's a different guy.
And I'm not saying fire him, but we've all said that about our bosses who sit on their ass and do nothing after they get promoted. Is fire him. So, like I said, I'm not saying get rid of Christian Brown, but
no,
it's
you don't need to get rid of him. You just need to find that spark again and find a way to encourage him to be who he was last year, but in a slightly different variation, because what he's done, what he did for last year was fine for last year.
Yeah.
But this is a new season, higher expectations, even from us. And maybe we're looking at him a little too harshly because he is only a sophomore. He's only in year 2. He's a sophomore in the NBA. And maybe we're expecting too much out of him because he really shined last year. And maybe we need to sit down and look at his numbers and actually go, okay, maybe we're pushing him too much.
Yeah, I think.
Like I said, I think
we need to push him because we need that that production off of the bench. I feel like it's just because I see what you're saying, Colin, and I agree that definitely happens with a lot of people. I just feel like Christian Brown is not one of those people. Like his problem will be something else. I feel like because, like I said, I think it's more of a crisis of confidence than it is too much confidence or being complacent or comfortable or any of that. He does not strike me as that kind of guy. I feel like early on in the season, he was trying to do more. And I think that when that didn't work, it's really messed with him. And I feel like he's trying to do too much. But watch, we say this and then he'll come in an interview or a post game or something and just start talking himself up. Yeah, I'm the best bench player in the NBA. Like when you see him in interviews, he doesn't say stuff like that. But watch, because we're defending him, he'll go out there and just say some dumb shit and get himself released, which I don't think will happen. But
Colin's prophecy will come true again.
You never know. Stranger things have happened on the Netflix show Stranger Things. But yeah, the Nuggets bench, man, it still feels thin. Like I like all 3 guys when they're on. I'm still like, obviously Christian Brown has now dropped to like the lowest guy on that bench. But if Reggie can just be efficient and, try on defense a little bit to the point where you can give him a few more minutes and not have to put so much on your starters. If Christian Brown can just calm down and, or maybe, get excited, whatever it is. And then Peyton Watson needs to not have games like this and just be Peyton Watson, then we're great. But it's just all those guys have shown to be relatively streaky, the least of which is Peyton Watson. But after the last game, you never know. That stuff can happen again. It feels like the bench last year was so much more consistent. With Jeff Green, you knew exactly what you were going to get night in, night out. He's going to take some dunks. He's going to shoot some threes. He might make them. He might not, but he's going to keep the other team honest. And he's just going to play good fundamental basketball. And then Bruce Brown was just going to dominate the bench because he's a starter in the NBA. And we just had 6 starters on the team last year. So I feel like we don't have that guy this year. I guess the best bench guy is Peyton Watson, which I kind of love from a fan standpoint, but not from a winning basketball game standpoint. And that's what really concerns me about this Nuggets bench. And hopefully they can kind of get it together because there's not a ton of buyout guys left that might be able to come in and actually make an impact. Maybe there's a guard out there that I'm not thinking of, but I feel like you just got to get more out of these guys. And, hopefully Nick and I are right and he figures it out, Christian Brown, and everything's okay. And then, but that's never how it goes in sports. So they'll have to overcome something.
So I'm looking at his stats right now. His defensive stats have improved over last year. His offensive stats are obviously what are a little bit more glaring, but they're not, it doesn't seem as significant as I would have thought. I mean, he's averaging 4 more minutes per game. So he's averaging 2.5 field goals a game. His field goal attempts are just under 6. So he's got a .435 field goal percentage, which compared to last year was .495. But then you get into his defensive stats. He's averaging more rebounds per game. He's at almost 3 rebounds. His total rebounds per game is 3.5. He's getting more assists now. He's almost an assist and a half. Steals are still the same. His blocks have increased by 0.2. So I mean, he's making up where I think last year we were kind of letting him slide a little bit because he was doing so much offensively that his defense, albeit the reason the Nuggets originally drafted him, was down a little bit. He was scoring points, and this year he's improving on defense, and we want him to do both.
Well,
and I think he's trying to find a balance.
And I feel like the
they're
stats
not-
don't
they're
tell the
not-
whole story. I feel like the eye test, he fails a lot more regularly. The stats might not really say how bad it's looked. What is his plus minus? That's one that I always really, it's not a be all end all or anything, but it's a good indicator of just how is the team doing when you're on the court. And sorry, what were you going to say, Colin?
I mean, yeah, I don't want to beat a dead horse with this Christian Brown stuff, but like he has four more minutes played per game. He's averaging 4 more minutes, and this is in comparison to last year where his ass got sat on the bench and didn't play minutes for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
You're gonna have better stats. I mean, you should have somewhat better stats, and you're gonna have more opportunity because you have more opportunities.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what I would like more so, what would be a better breakdown would be his per minutes, because I told you guys this stat about Peyton Watson. Like if he averaged a full game's worth of minutes,
a full minute's worth of games.
Yeah, whatever. His average, if you take his average and extended it out, it was like 9 blocks a game or something like that. With where he was at a few weeks ago, and so I mean that's not sustainable. We all know that.
No, but that's what Christian Brown looked like last year. Was some of those like microwaved compressed stats. Like if you gave him a full game and he did that for the whole game, it's like, oh shit, this guy could be something.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it's just one of those guys that, like I said, and it might be a sophomore slump, but it could be he might just have to be a bench guy. Like that might be who he is. Like the guy
there's
that
nothing
you
wrong
can't,
with that.
The guy that you can't rely on.
Like
for all these minutes. I mean, I know there's nothing wrong with that, but it just feels like
Seinfeld. Not there's anything wrong with that.
He hasn't taken a hold of this opportunity that he's been given. And you're right, it is the eye test. The eye test also says that we have spent way too much time talking about the damn Nuggets.
No. Let me get this one piece and we'll.
Not if it's interesting.
So, Joe, you asked the plus minus last year. He was negative 1.5. This year, he's negative 1.8. To add to that, the Nuggets bench has not been good in the plus minus realm anyway. So that doesn't help. That doesn't help anyway either. So
yeah, I mean, for me, it's the assist numbers, the added assist attempts. They're not working, and I love having someone that will do that, but I don't want another Facu Campazzo where they're passing to a fault, or how Austin Rivers used to drive the basket and then instead of going for a layup or a dunk and forcing a foul or something, he would just throw it from underneath the basket to some random wing and hope they could make a 3 or whatever. That's what concerns me the most about Christian Brown, is seeing him pass a little too much and having it not work. Like if those passes start working and guys get, he gets more assists because guys are actually scoring off of these passes, then hell yeah, everything's fine. But it's not working. And it's just, it's almost spiraling to where, one thing misses and then it gets in his head. And then it's like when Terrell Owens used to drop a ball in the 90s, he would drop 6 that game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Going to the other team that plays at the former Pepsi Center. I don't know why we were doing that tonight.
Coke Center.
Avs make their first significant trade as they get Bardakov from the Devils for Curtis McDermott. So basically, forward for forward, the only difference is the Avs got a 2024
round
prospect. He plays in Russia. He is not playing in the
round pick. So they get a 7th round pick and Bardakov for Curtis McDermott, and I don't really see that affecting the team too much other than
Yes, it does.
thank you for letting me finish. Other than in the locker room, because from what has been reported before, Dermy and Bedsy did not get along too well, and Dermy was not, he was lucky to get 7 minutes in a game.
I think Colin's looking at a different angle for this. I'll let him.
Yeah.
It does. It opens up more room for one Sidney Crosby.
Oh,
Salary cap.
Speaking of Stranger Things from earlier, the prediction from last year, which I will have clips so I can play it for you guys on our next show.
Of course.
That Sidney Crosby. Look who has some cap space to sign a higher priced player and bring in another guy, a bigger name player. And that would be the Avalanche. And who still needs a 2C? Oh, that would be the Colorado Avalanche.
Ooh.
Oh, and what's
Is he
happening?
willing
with
to take the
what's happening
demotion?
what's happening with the Penguins? They're not doing so hot.
I'm not great.
No, but they're in the East too, and we've seen what the East is capable of. And there's 4 teams out there in the East that are just significant.
Yeah,
monsters.
so you're not going to win, and the Penguins are in a rebuild.
Yeah.
They're fully a part of it, and I don't
Been
think
a
Sidney
rebuild
Crosby
for like 8
wants to stay around for another round of a rebuild.
All right, here, look at it this way. And this is stupid.
Colin was right.
One of the Avs' biggest threats in the Western Conference is going to be the Vegas Golden Knights. Do you not want a guy named Crosby playing well in Vegas? That's all I'm saying. I don't know where Colin went.
Colin?
But,
Colin.
he's gone.
I'm here.
There he is. I was like moving my mouse up the screen as you disappeared, and I was like, did I do that?
Biggest threats, yeah, Vegas.
Can I do that?
Yeah. Do you not want a guy named Crosby in Vegas? Come on.
No, not in Vegas.
No, we
Against Vegas, yes.
That's what I'm saying. You're bad at this.
It's cap space, man. I'm telling you, they're making some moves.
Oh yeah. I mean, the rumors have been out there. The thing that would
word
bother me is that Sakic might zig when everyone else thinks he's going to zag, just for the sake of doing something different and go for a different guy. I guess it's the other GM guy. But
McFarland.
That's what I said. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane. No, it's Todd McFarlane, the creator of Deadpool. But I'm still excited, man. I think this is going to be cool. You see little moves like that. It's kind of like we saw it on the opposite end when the Broncos brought in Kenny Young, the linebacker, so that the Rams could save cap space to bring in Von Miller. Obviously now it's the other way around, and we cleared up cap space, and now we get to be excited.
So the Avs have just about $2.2 million available in cap space now. What's your homie rolling right now, Colin?
Well, the NHL, you're not paying the full salary for the season. You pay a pro-rated salary on the players that you bring in, and then you also have the trade away. Are you sure that's updated at 2.2 with McDermott?
That was according to 16 hours ago from the Denver Post.
Okay.
Do we really trust the Denver Post, though?
Well,
I mean,
who local story that popped up first.
Who reads papers?
Yeah, come on. Who reads words?
So there's still money that can be had, and then the Penguins can absorb some of the contract. Also, there's plenty of space to get Crosby here, but Crosby is only due $3 million.
Perfect.
This year and next year.
I mean, not perfect. That's still $1 million overlap, but that's
depends on how much teams
they can mess with that.
But part of that's a signing bonus too, which I believe is not.
So that's already been paid.
10% is this year and 12% next year. So I think that there's plenty of room, like I said, for him and another guy to be able to come in here, especially if you're having to trade a guy like Sam Girard or Bo Byram, and you have some more cap space that is freed up. It's the space is there. I mean, we're already halfway through the season, so obviously that $3 million is not $3 million that the Avs would owe him. Like I said, 1.2 maybe, and then you're trading away an asset in Bo Byram, let's say, to the Penguins so that they can get their rebuild on, and they absorb another 25% of that contract because they're bringing in a much cheaper player in Byram right now. It's lining up to be a very good possibility. This is not going to be the Lars Eller year again.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm damn sure. Because last year, remember, they didn't make any of these types of moves. Last year, their moves were adding on and still in hopes of having the contract of Landeskog hit the books for the playoffs.
Yeah.
These are moves set up to go towards a push. Like these are those pre-moves, like you talked about with the Broncos and Kenny Young. These are the pre-moves to make a bigger move. It's what the Rams did in that year to get the guys on the team to win the championship. So yeah.
And you don't
how
make
funny.
a move like this when you don't have something else later on lined up in the works. Sometimes it obviously fizzles out and doesn't go through, but like usually these moves happen as a pretense and the entire thing has already been agreed upon. So they might already know that they're bringing in Sidney Crosby, and we're just waiting. We're fixing to find out.
Rams and Avs, Kroenke own teams.
It also depends on Choo Choo coming back too. And since he's been back in the locker room and been around the boys, they've put 10 biscuits in the net. They've looked good these last two games with Nichushkin getting around the club again. And, I mean, we've obviously seen the captain out there too.
Skating. He hasn't actually played, right? He's
still skating
slightly, right? Yeah, okay. But, yeah, that's huge for, like, motivation and stuff. But also you can never score too many goals.
Not with this offense or this defense.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? Just go all in. Like I said, I want the Mighty Ducks too. The guys that score 35 goals a game and don't play any defense. We're ignoring Mighty Ducks 3. Bring in Sidney Crosby.
There was no such thing as the Mighty Ducks 3.
Nope, didn't happen.
Well, I mean, that's good because I actually honestly forgot it even allegedly occurred.
That was the only one that my neighbor had like on tape or DVD or something. So that's the one that I've seen the most when they replace Emilio Estevez and the new coach is like, fuck you, play defense. Goalies sit there, eat more.
Well, and I mean, even with that, Nichushkin is like, yeah, him coming back is good, but he's not a center.
Exactly.
No, but
so having him back, should add firepower. But
he's motivation and he's a piece in that locker room that, a voice they need to hear.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think he might have lost some. Like, he's got to earn some of this stuff back.
Depends on who it is.
He's left the team twice now too, and I know it was to get better, but it's coming from experience. Just because you go off and work on yourself and get yourself better doesn't mean that everyone forgives you or welcomes you back with open arms right away.
No, not everyone's going to.
And so there's still work to be done here. Just because he's back on the ice does not mean that he's going to be completely accepted back in the locker room, because half of these guys, might accept him, but the other half are just waiting for the other shoe to drop and him to be gone again. So don't just assume that because he's back.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying
it's changing motivation on this.
But it helps though too.
I mean, it helps. Yes, it helps having a player.
And, like you said, speaking from experience, I don't have that experience. I've been on the other end where people have gone away, gotten themselves better, and come back, and maybe it's just me and my personality. I've always been supportive of that. I'm not one of those people that's trying to shove anything down anybody's throat, or just, we'll just wait for them to fuck up again. You try to be that good person that makes sure that they stay on the good path.
Yeah, but it's not everyone.
No, it's not. Sure. It never will be. There are, like you said, there are some negative Nancy's out there.
I mean, but we all have people who we felt have burned us too many times in our lives that we don't give another chance to. And so that might be some guys in the locker room for the Avs. Maybe. And it could be, I mean, I don't hope so, but you never know how management views it also.
Yeah.
Management could view it that if Sakic or McFarland feel like you burned us too many times, can't trust you, you're gone. Which is exactly, and I don't think that's who they are because they gave Kadri multiple chances. So I'm just saying, like,
well, Kadri was getting more fucked by the NHL than he was anybody else because they were holding a lot of shit against him.
But that was, I mean, it was all still self-imposed. He did those things and got that target on his back. So
yeah, but still, he got overly punished for having a clean history for as long as he did.
I agree. He got overly punished, but a punishment is a punishment. You become a liability.
Well, yeah, even though, because it sucks that, obviously he's had such a great streak of not doing those things, but he had that history of being malicious. And then he came here and, he'd have some hits that were definitely not as bad as he used to have in Toronto, but like, it was still like, oof. And we're also kind of biased too, because Claude Lemieux, we want to defend our guys that hit hard. So I feel like we have a little bit of that too. Like, fuck you guys. That's just how we play hockey in Colorado. But
well, the good thing is the Bertuzzis are at least keeping themselves in line with the family. So we hate all of them anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tyler scored a hat trick against the Avs the other day.
Fuck that guy. Punch in the face.
He's like far, far related. I know. And we still
don't care.
He's not. It's just the name on the back.
Yep. You are a Bertuzzi. You are dead to us.
Yep, not a fan.
All right, heading out to Arizona.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I'll be there in 26 days.
Oh, shut up. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys read the article I sent you yesterday from The Athletic.
Oh, I read it when it came out. And
did
I read
you?
the response. Yes. Go.
Okay.
Just go.
So, Chris Bryant has a little bit of explaining to do. He's backpedaling himself to some kind of room of safety, although it's probably rigged with grenades at this point. KB said that he basically signed with the Rockies because he was in a panic mode and didn't do his research about how the team was doing, how their minor league system looked, and he basically just took the first contract because they were coming out of the strike.
We all kind of knew that. I mean, why else would he sign here purposely? Like, obviously money is the biggest reason. You see, is it 180 million or something like that he makes? Like,
he took the biggest contract that was available to him.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly. So obviously he didn't realize what the Rockies culture was like, or he wouldn't have taken that because he wanted to win at some point. I think he wanted to get away from a lot of the stress and pressure from Chicago because it's Chicago. But
well, he ended up in San Francisco. He got traded to San Francisco to try and help them with their playoff run.
That's right, but they didn't want to keep him anyway.
No.
So he was stuck on free agency. So he was in trouble of looking like a one-hit wonder, which now he does. I guess not one hit. He was good for a couple of years, but so now he came here and we were all like, really? Why? He must be washed up. He must not care. And then he would say
Nick was super excited.
Yeah. And then he would say things like, I'm going to, do well and this team's going to win. And we're like, there's two possibilities here. What are you smoking? Or what do you think this is? Like, obviously he was either lying or had no idea. And we honestly gave him too much credit thinking he was lying.
I don't know. I mean, Bryce Harper called him out when they were getting ready to brawl with the Phillies last year. That was actually kind of funny, but I'm still mad at Harper because you can't talk about my team that way. Only I can.
Big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
So Jake Shapiro, friend Jake Shapiro, he wrote an article about this, and his quote at the end of his article, talking about this. So I'll say this. He says, and thus ends what will likely be the most memorable chapter of Bryant's Rockies tenure. The time he briefly put his foot in his mouth and bit the appendage as well as the hand that feeds him.
See, I don't think the front office
He did.
cares.
Yeah. Well, the front office, the front office doesn't care. But especially when he said that, teams like the Dodgers, you have to go out and perform. It's nice to be here in Colorado where there's no pressure. where no one's watching. Like,
Oh
come
no,
on.
we're watching. There may not be a lot of us that are watching, but we're watching.
Yeah, but he literally said that there's
No,
no
I
pressure in
know.
Colorado because no one cares about the results. And
Yeah, he
it's
means
true,
the
organization.
team management. Yeah, they don't care. It's not the fans. The fans care in every city, even Oakland, sadly. That's the saddest thing about the Rockies is that fans will care. I'm sure there's some baseball teams, kind of like the Chargers, where they just don't have real fans. But like they're always going to care. It's management. It's the coaches, managers, GMs.
Well,
It's
I mean,
weird
Bud
that
Black can
baseball
only do so
coaches are
much of what
managers.
he's given. He can only polish a turd so much, and for being given what he's been given, you have to remember too. The Rockies lost 2/5 of their rotation last year, and then
which is their fault.
And then Freeland was in and out of the lineup too. Tell
me the years that hasn't happened where they haven't lost guys from multiple series. Sensatella's always been hurt. Marquez has got hurt consistently. Freeland has always been hurt. He's always had a blister on his damn finger. And this team has continued to give them contracts. So don't blame it on that. I'm
not blaming it. I'm just saying you have to remember too. The guys
I remember because
on,
it's happened every year.
The guys you're relying on are the ones that weren't in the rotation last year, so you had to double back and hit the panic button because you didn't sign anybody to a major league contract.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get to. This is an ownership problem and a front office problem that doesn't know how to run a baseball team, and so poor Bud Black's stuck in the middle, and now Bud Black's probably on the hot seat this year because everybody's going to expect the Rockies to lose 100+ games again. And the front office is going to put the blame on him because for the last 3 seasons, the Rockies have signed 3 major league contracts.
I think Bud Black is safe because of that, because they're not giving him anything. He's got a cush job. He's just kicking it, hanging out, doing the best he can with the shit roster that he's given every year because they don't try. They don't give him anything. And I think they're happy with Bud Black because he's not going to push back on them. He's not going to tell them to, get a better training staff so your players stop getting fucking hurt. Or
because he fought that battle in San Diego.
Yeah, get a farm system, get anything. They're just – I think they're all just kind of happy with the status quo. And as long as people keep showing up to the games, I don't think they really care about losing. I would feel bad for Bud Black if he got fired. But, I mean, I guess it's whatever. It's how it goes. But, it's just going to be another figurehead type guy. We're going to see, Bill Schmidt, the coach, the manager. It's just going to be some guy that's not going to have any say, and it's just going to continue to – it'll be even worse if they get rid of Bud Black. At least they have a guy like Bud Black that at least fans seem to like. Maybe, I'm wrong about that, and more fans kind of have the same sentiment that Nick has where it's like, fuck it,
Well, the Rockies might not care about results, but we've got to get to our results.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 red tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
The Pick'em segment, proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin just kind of winging it.
We are just kind of winging it into the victory formation. Like I said, we care about the results. One of us has finally broken through one other level. Let's get into last week's picks.
Unlike Chris Bryant.
The first set of picks was the Nets versus the Timberwolves. Timberwolves came out victorious. Joe was the only one to pick that one correctly, winning 1308 when the Timberwolves are a minus 325 favorite. The next game, Texas, hook 'em horns for Nick.
Boom.
Didn't hook anything besides a loss.
Damn.
Boom, that. As Kansas dominated them from start to finish.
So they got
minus 355. Joe and I got that one correct at 1282. The Kings beat the Clippers. And Nick was the only one to choose that one right. At the best odds of the week, Nick won 25.50 while Joe and I lost 10. So that means Joe went 2-1, Nick went 1-2, and I went 1-2. Big winner of the week, Joe, winning $15.90, bringing him over to the $200 mark at 201.38. Nick in
15 bucks, little man. Put
I'm
that in my hand.
I'm in second place after losing $7.18 at 145.66. Nick, you won $5.50 at 113.37. Let's get into this week's picks, and we got a fun slate of games. We are going to start with number 5, Marquette versus number 12, Creighton. This one's in Omaha. The lower seed is favored. Creighton at minus 278. Marquette, the Golden Eagles, at plus 225. Nick, who have you got?
I'm going to go Creighton because I like saying it that way, not Creighton. I like saying Creighton.
Nick is going Creighton. He's going to just go with the favorite and try and make up for last week's one win, even though he won more than me. Joe, who you got? Golden Eagles or the Blue Jays?
I have no idea. So, fuck it. Let's go with Marquette King.
Picked
Picked against him last week. I think he's going to have a bounce back punting night. I think he's going to hit the ball real hard. He's going to cough and corner those guys, and they're going to be a dub.
You know, I have a soft spot for Creighton after beating them to their championship and no more brick powder last year. So, yep, I'm going with Creighton. We move on to another top 25 matchup in college basketball. That is Kansas versus Baylor. This one's in Waco, also known as Waco. Baylor is a favorite at minus 238. Kansas underdog at plus 195. Joe, who you got?
I'm just thinking of the Animaniacs theme song now because you said Wacko.
You're welcome.
We're the Warner brothers and the Warner sister got. I don't know. I don't know who's better. Is either of them ranked right now?
Like I said, number 7 Kansas, number 15 Baylor. It's at home.
Okay.
Baylor's a favorite by minus 238.
Really? Even though Kansas is higher ranked?
It's the same thing as in the other game.
It's like I feel like I don't know.
Both higher ranked teams
about
are
Baylor
underdogs.
makes me feel like they're pretty good right now, but the Jayhawks also just I feel like the Jayhawks are better in the play or in the tournament though. So yeah, we'll take the Bears.
He is taking the Bears. Kansas sucks on the road. Pretty terrible. So that's why I'm going to choose them.
Love it. Kansas
Baylor
sucks. I'm picking them.
Yeah. Nick, who you got?
Who did Joe pick?
I
The
picked
Bears.
Baylor.
Okay.
The Bears.
Baylor Bears.
I was just making sure we weren't having a clean sweep because I was going to go Kansas.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Oh, have we picked the same, Nick?
Nick and I have chosen the same thing. Fuck. All right. Well, time for a bad week. All right. Let's move on to the one that we can parlay with all of these if we choose to. We move to the Handball Champions League.
Parlay. Oh, wait.
And,
actually, what do I win for Damian Lillard winning the 3-point contest? Because I definitely called that.
It was a free whatever $10. I don't know. I forgot that I didn't put that in the notes. You're right.
No, you're good. I'm
Whatever.
just fucking with you because
We could have
I actually got one.
talked about that. We got a minute and a half left, so we'll bring that up next time. Telecom Vesapuram. I don't know. Favorite at minus 115. Matterberg at plus 130 in the Champions Handball League. I'm going with the favorite Telecom Vesapuram in the Handball Champions League.
Hey, what?
Who you got?
I'm gonna take. What was the other one?
Nick, who you got?
Matterhorn.
Matterberg.
Matthew Berg.
Magdeburg, actually.
Magnavox.
You're going with Magnavox?
I'm going Magnavox.
All right. Magdeburg versus Telecom Vesprem.
Champions
Handball. Deep dive.
Should I go? I'll take the Magna Carta.
All right. That's Joe with the Magna Carta. And then we move on to the basketball game. Sunday night basketball. These also can be parlayed together. These next two bets, the odds are not up, but we have Thunder versus the Suns. This is in Phoenix. Nick, who you got? Thunder versus Suns.
OKC.
Of course he does. So, you gonna stick with your favorites?
Yeah, I gotta take the Thunder. I mean, come on.
I figured you were, and I am going Suns in the desert because it worked out last time when I said I'm going to choose the team of where I'm going to visit soon. No, it didn't. The game you can parlay that with is the Penguins versus the Oilers on Sunday Night Hockey. Penguins visiting Edmonton. I'm assuming Edmonton is going to be the favorite in this game, but yeah, that's just a wild random guess. Shouldn't be that hard of a guess. But Joe, who you got?
Edmonton.
Yes.
I had to second guess for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the Connor McDavid Draisaitl. What the fuck would the Yeah, no, we're taking Edmonton. Yeah.
Sunday Night Hockey, baby. You can parlay it with Sunday Night Basketball. Nick, I'm taking the Oilers also. Nick, who you got?
I was gonna go Oilers as well.
But
Well, then it's a clean sweep. That is all right. So we're all gonna lose $10 on that game. Because that's the way that it goes.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
But that's all right. You know what? We'll all win some money this weekend. I'll win more than maybe Nick or Joe because I've had a little bit of a downturn. But yeah, all we do is win. Normally, as Joe has crossed that $200 mark, first one over it, I believe. I didn't really have a chance to go into all of it because of some technical stuff this morning. That was fun.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Well, we got through it. It's time for us to go wrap this on up. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And this has been another presentation of E5280 Sports Network. Thank you to Pikes Peak Sports Cards for being our lovely sponsor. Thank you, Colin, for turning on the nice, slow driving music. And don't forget to check out E5280sports.com for all the other great shows they have on there. Wheelhouse, Between the Lines, Gridiron Intel, so many more. For Colin Zanker and Joe Goodwin, I am Nick Archuleta. This has been the Undrafted Uncensored. Until next week, bet smartly, bet safely, and enjoy root beer.
Bet.
Have a good night.
Go Nuggies, go Avs, go everybody.